It's 8 p.m., I beg your pardon, Central African time. Hello, Sonny Bonani. Welcome to the BrakeAway Racing League. Welcome to the All-Stars race number 6. Welcome to Singapore. Sir Lancelot is in the comment section as well as in the Kick Sauber, as you can see on your screens. A current contingent of 14 drivers, including the likes of veterans Tindo, Man Ray, Mfundo, and the 86er. Not forgetting, of course, the likes of Zotile, Kapoza, also represented here. Sage Figure of Speech is ready and waiting alongside their teammate of Scuderia Ferrari fame, that being Billy Hendricks. Moteo Mekwa, a.k.a. Mex, the championship leader, is here representing Visa Cash App RB. Kapoza, of course, makes that a full house for that particular team. We're waiting for the next Haas to show up because Marshy is in this here lobby. It's a warm welcome to Tiago Maestro today in the Williams seat. What can they do as they make their season debut in the 6th race of the All-Star season? Still a long way to go, still a lot of races yet to come. This is, of course, the 6th race in Singapore. We still have a fair amount to go. 14 or so races remaining. So a lot can still happen in this race. But you know what? For the moment, we're glad to have you on board. We will have 18 minutes of qualifying before 31 laps of fantastic racing. Perhaps more contenders can join the fray as this race is about to unfold. Kid K is also here. Welcome, folks. Please remember to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. It is an absolute honor, a pleasure to have you on board with less than 15 seconds remaining for the action to get underway out here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Of course, a very, very familiar circuit for those of you who are fans of the sport. First came onto the scene all the way back in 2008 as we get the notification that Inquali's presence on the grid is confirmed. So we will see how they fare as far as the season goes on along. Just to catch you up on how things look after 5 races in this All-Star season, Mex in the V-Carb leads the standings, 84 points. Second is Duke of McLaren fame, 73 points for him. Sage Figure of Speech is on 52 points, third in the standings. Debo Crocodile, Bongani, and Gwenya, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman, is fourth in the standings on a total of 50 points. It's a 3-way fight with those 50-point tally. 50 points for Debo Croc, 50 points for Donathon Laka, and 50 points for Kaboza as well. How close is that? The veteran Loveness, Tato, has 49 points. He's currently 7th in the standings. Zotile, not far behind, 8th on 42 total points. There's a little bit of a points gap here then from Zotile to Fence, who is currently 9th on 22 points. Mfundo, the highly experienced Aston Martin driver who did not have such a great time in the Mexico race, having to retire, but Mfundo was 10th in the standings on 22 total points. Billy Hendricks is 11th on 17 points. We have Man Ray, 12th on 14 points. Marshy is 13th on 12 points. And Sir Lancelot is on 2 points in 14th spot. Tindo is 15th, just a 1 championship point thus far. And it's a similar 1-point case for Enquali and Salvi Sango. Sanley Mazanzi, the Nucho, and Liddy have competed thus far this season, but sadly have not racked up any championship points. Tiago makes their debut here, and we'll see how they will fare in the colors of Williams today. Who is first out on circuit? Let's get a good look. Seems to be the McLaren of Duke, wasting no time, lighting up the timesheets, last time out, alongside the superstar Mango, who put on an exhibition on the streets of Mexico City. And we'll see how Duke will fare. Billy Hendricks is also out on circuit, about a couple of cars up behind Duke now, so we'll see how his prospects pan out as well. Tindo, not wasting any time either, just the solitary championship point. Work to do for the Alpine superstar. We'll see how he will fare as it all goes right on along. Joining Tindo, I beg your pardon, In the other Alpine is, of course, Man Ray, who is following not too far behind Duke, who was the first to come out. Now, these drivers have 18 total minutes to go on a fast push lap, and the fastest driver will, of course, start the race at the front of the pack, and second fastest will start off in second place, and so on and so forth. That is how this short qualifying session works if you're brand new to the sport. Welcome to Singapore. Welcome to race number 6. Please remember to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Duke will do the honors as we go on board the McLaren Superstar. Turn 1 rides the curb, not too heavy, looking decent. Duke, of course, is the pace setter as far as the season is concerned. Will it be the case on the streets of the Marina Bay Circuit? Here he comes now into turn 5, riding the limits, not quite making acquaintance with the wall. This is the kink of turn number 6 into the braking zone of 7, deploying so much of his battery power. 26.312 is the benchmark at the end of the first sector. Duke is going to be the first to lay down the gauntlet, not wasting any time. What sort of an effort can he put in come the end of the middle sector, which will soon be concluded. Riding a little bit of curve there, but trying to carry as much minimum speed as possible. Now into one of the slowest corners of the track, on the verge of completing. That's a second sector. What will the split be, though? That is the question. 102.713 is one to watch very closely. The slow-moving car is going to have to get off the racing line so that Duke can zip right on past. We'll see how Man Ray behind Duke is faring along, but it seems that it's going to be very, very close. Yellow flags in another part of the circuit. Duke will pay no mind as he comes screaming across the line with a 1 minute 27.326. How about that? Mex is way further behind. Man Ray crossed the line with a 1 minute 30.667. So, as you can see, it is daylight between Duke and Man Ray. Billy Hendricks a little bit closer, but still, no cigar. 128.833, nothing to be scoffed at. A decent effort as far as Billy Hendricks is concerned. Work to do, however. We're going to hop on over to the other Alpine of Tindo, who's crossed the line 33.695. Moteo Mex, who is looking to give Duke a lot of headaches, crossed the line with a 1 minute 28.595. Second quickest. Duke from Mex, from Billy Hendricks, from Man Ray, from Tindo. Those are your current protagonists. It seems, however, that Infundo has just crossed the line for a 29.533 to become the next of the runners to have set those times. Now, is that Zotail on the verge of completing their lap? The answer is yes. Now, in towards the final couple of corners, crosses the line for a 28.849 and nudges Man Ray down a spot or two. Sir Lancelot and Quali are the protagonists for Kick Sauber, 131.2144 in Quali, and we're going to see whether or not the coming contingent of cars will also be making a decent push. Caboza also on the verge of completing their push lap. Can he challenge the top runners? Across the line comes Caboza. The answer is yes. Just behind Mex, and it's a V-Carb 2-3, occupying both the front and the second row are the V-Carbs as things currently stand. Cinch figure of speech is still in the pits. How is Debo Crocodile faring? Let's hop on board. 104.2 was the split at the end of the middle sector. Now riding the curb, looking to complete this lap and put on a decent effort. Only one driver in the 1 minute 27. Debo Crocodile's not going to be the second. He slots in between Zotal and Infundo for the sixth quickest time with a 1 minute 29.295. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman, with the sixth best time as things currently stand. Work to do for Debo Crocodile. Marshy is on the verge of completing their push lap. It's going to be a 29.220, slots right behind their teammate Zotal. So, V-Carb running line astern in 2 and 3, and now it's Haas with Zotal and Marshy in number 5 and 6. A lot of qualifying still to go, 11.5 minutes that is. Let's see how Sir Lancelot is faring. That Sector 2 split, 105.0. What'll it be across the line for the kick salvo? The answer is P11, 130.954. We have yet to see the push laps, the efforts, the attempts from the likes of the veteran 86er and, of course, Sage Figure of Speech. Welcome to Singapore. Welcome to the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Welcome to BrakeAway Racing League All-Stars. We have just about 11 minutes for this qualifying session to come to its almighty climax, to its epic conclusion, if we will see somebody challenge our top runners thus far. So, there it is. To be among the top 5, you need to be in the 1 minute 28. Duke leads the fray with that 27.326. We then has, of course, Mex with 28.595 and Caboza 28.797. As I speak of Caboza, sadly they dipped out of the session. Hopefully it's just a brief blip and he'll be back to take part in the rest of the session. So just the 5 drivers in the 1 minute 28, from Duke all the way down to Zotal in 5th, and then we have about 5 of them in the 1 minute 29s. That is Zotal down to Thiago Maestro, and Man Ray with a 130.667, Sir Lancelot 130.954, and Quali 31.254. Here we go, folks. So welcome to race number 6. As Quali makes their way back, as is Sir Lancelot. Good news for fans of Donovan Laka. The Muso will be represented in this here lobby. Meanwhile, we'll see what the likes of the 86er, Sage Figure of Speech, can do when they eventually come out to stake their claim on a decent quality effort over here. Even Zotal is back out into the fray, out of the pits, having made whatever tweaks are necessary. Zotal perhaps happy with the choices that the team has made as far as setup is concerned. If not, then, well, Zotal would have given the necessary feedback, and they've got about 9 minutes now to stake their claim and see just what can be done. Before we do that, let's hop on board with Mex, the championship-leading Mex, who was victorious out in Mexico last time out. Now, he's found almost 4/10 of the second come the end of Sector 1. Hopes not to go too wide of the apex there, carried a lot of speed into that right-hander. Now looking to compensate by keeping the middle sector as clean as humanly possible. Now to the slower sequences of corners coming up, riding the curve, carrying a lot of speed through that corner, was third through the third gear through the right-hander, and now into the super slow left-hander, slowest corner of the track, down to second gear. Now pedal to the metal as Mex looks to complete the second sector. The time is 103.164, so he's lost a 10th relative, of course, to the first sector. Mex, of course, with a couple of minor tweaks to that steering angle, which have cost him that precious 10th of a second, and it is also tight. Sage Figure of Speech has leapfrogged Mex. Meanwhile, what an effort by the Ferrari driver with about 8 minutes of the session to go. And as I say that, Mex abandons that push lap, but it is a red-hot lap from the Scarlet Red Sage Figure of Speech, who puts on a 1 minute 28.295 and puts 3/10 of a second between their best effort and that of Mex. Now, the V-Carbs both occupy that second row, P3 and 4. How about that from Sage Figure of Speech? Fantastically done. On we go to Zotal, who has found 2/10 of a second now, come the end of the first sector. What'll it be through the middle sector? As he watches some of the other drivers ahead on their push laps, Zotal will just be making sure that this braking point is inch perfect. Third gear to the right-hander. Zotal looking to maintain momentum. 2/10 through the first couple of sectors. Will it be more come the end of the lap? Zotal inching closer and closer to the drivers who seem to have abandoned their push laps. Get off the racing line if that is the case. Zotal is going to need to go as Duke lays down the gauntlets and raises the bar even further. Zotal goes quicker. Duke is still quickest by even more of a margin. 26.532 is a sensational effort by Duke, the Prince of McLaren, the Prince of the Singapore streets, possibly the king of the BrakeAway Racing League All-Star season, unless somebody has something to say in the coming races. Sensationally done there by Billy Hendricks. Second quickest, 27.906. How about that, Ferrari? What on earth are you cooking up there in Fiorano at Maranello? Fantastic effort by the Ferrari contingent. Meanwhile, Thiago not quite finding the margins. He has invalidated his push lap. We'll hop on instead to Debo Crocodile. Distant cousin of Debo Cayman. Possibly Debo Cayman, that is Debo Alligator, definitely. Now, Debo, Crocodile, Bongani, and Guenya was a heart and mouth moment there through some of those braking zones. Oh, makes acquaintance with the walls there to Debo Crocodile. That'll cost him a precious tenth or two as he will look now to recuperate. It looks like he's still keeping it going. He's opting not to abandon the lap. As I say that, he's gained almost half a second. So that little moment with the wall there is going to cost him precious couple of tenths in a field that is definitely tight as far as the different bunches of times that we see on the left of your screen. Debo Crocodile rode a lot of that curve there. Here he comes now, almost cut that corner, was looking to gain as much time as possible. He leaps up to P6 with a 28.730. A fantastic improvement as far as Debo Crocodile is concerned. On board we go now with the other Haas, that being Marshy. Less than 5 minutes of the session to go as the Haas looks to come into some of these slower corners of this year's circuit. Oh, have to adjust the steering angle there so as to not damage that front wing. Marshy now giving it an almighty push through this middle sector. I'd say 2/10 worth of improvement come the end of the middle sector. So let's see how it goes now towards the conclusion of this here circuit. Bright neon green helmet for Marshy as he really throws that Haas around the final couple of corners. What'll it be? It was 29.220. Comes across the line now for an improvement of almost 3/10, 28.940, pushes Marshy up to P9. Well, Jonathan Laka is here and is on the verge of completing the middle sector. 50 total points gained in this championship thus far. Slight hack at the steering wheel there from Jonathan Laka, looking to get those bearings right as he floors it, concluding the middle sector. 104.588. Not quite as quick as some of the upper echelons that we've seen thus far. Can it be a scorching final sector for the Williams superstar? Time will tell. Paired today, of course, with Thiago Maestro, who sits in P8. Can Jonathan Laka at least be close to their teammates? 3.5 minutes, just under that, left remaining. It's Jonathan Laka towards the line. It's Jonathan Laka at P12, 29.978. Well, on board we go now. Sadly, the 86er Galatasaray Kagawafi invalidating their first push lap. So this man in the Red Bull is under immense pressure to put it together and give us something sensational before all is said and done. Mex is back for what we can safely assume will be their final push lap. What'll it be for the driver who was sitting very comfortably towards the top of these times earlier on in this session? Now has 4 contenders to leapfrog if he is to claim the glory of a pole position in this year's circuit. Work to do for Mex. It was an abandoned push lap last time. This time makes acquaintance with the walls here through these corners, and Mex will rue that missed opportunity. It is now or never, of course, as he looks to and hopes that these other drivers are just going to get off the racing line. What can Mex do? The answer is find half a second, as I'm sure somewhere in South Africa, a certain Nintendo Wii is screaming at their screen for Mex to give it an almighty push and see whether or not he can challenge some of the top runners. He's found half a second, has Mex, and that'll definitely give Billy Hendricks, sage figure of speech, Zotal, a lot of headaches. Here comes Mex now towards the line. It's Mex for the second quickest time. It's a 27.554. How about that? Mex finds the necessary improvement as Duke is still the man to beat at the top of the timing sheet. It's a second bite of the cherry for Galilitsang Kagawaki, the 86er, the veteran driver formerly of the top tier in the BrakeAway Racing League stable. As Man Ray sadly becomes the first retiree of this qualifying session, it is the 86er Galilitsang now looking to keep it perfect after that first invalidation at their first push lap. Now looking to come towards the corners, which have, not been too kind to some of the other drivers, but Galilitsang keeps it clean, keeps it away from the walls. Now needs to nail this braking zone and absolutely floor it as he looks to point that steering wheel in the right direction. It is not the quickest time. 107.5 is definitely not among the quicker times that we've seen out here today. Billy Hendricks out in another part of the circuit running push lap. We're going to stay with the 86er to see what that will be. And I do wonder, him being so far away, if he's just content to come back without necessarily giving it an almighty push. He's not going to be quickest. He's still going to be at the back of the pack here, folks. 33.826, definitely not among the top contenders. Sid's figure of speech is still in the early part of their push lap, so we're going to hop on instead to Billy Hendricks, who at this point has found 0.3 of a second, now sending it screaming towards the line. Can he leapfrog next now before all is said and done? The answer is yes! 27.474, how about that for the Ferrari superstar? Brilliantly done. Capoza sadly has invalidated. What about Sid's figure of speech? Also invalidated. Will be at least P5 that he will be hoping for. Of course, if the likes of Zotal, Depot Crocodile, etc. do not find improvement. We're on board now with Zotal, the half superstar, looking for a miracle, looking for a prayer, looking for that precious improvement as the checkered flag flies. For those who have not yet crossed the line, he has found more than half a second, has Zotal. It is looking very, very good. 28.566 was the margin. He will be finding himself possibly, if he keeps this final sector clean, inching into the 1 minute 27. Oh, but it's going to be so tight. Oh, I rode the curve pretty heavily over there. That'll compromise Zotal. It was half a second, but can Zotal find something special? Here he comes now towards the line, and he leaps up to P4, and he now will breathe a sigh of, I don't know if it's going to be a relief. Sid's figure of speech, that invalidation costing them dearly over here. So let's hop on over to see how Debo Crocodile is going to be doing. He had found a little bit of a margin of improvement here. Or had they? Will it be enough as far as Debo Crocodile is concerned? Giving it one final push. Takes a little bit of curve. Debo Crocodile towards the line. Goes up to P5 as he looks to conclude his final push lap. Oh, Duke had invalidated their time, and there it is, folks. Duke is in pole position. 126.532 is nothing to be scoffed at. A gargantuan gap to Billy Hendricks, who really put on a show here in this qualifying session. 127.474. Moteo Mekwa, a.k.a. Mex, third on the starting grid. They will be alongside Zotal in that second row. Debo Crocodile and Caboza make up the third row, P5 and 6. Sid's figure of speech will start the race in P7 alongside Tiago Maestro. Marshy and Mfundo make up P9 and 10. Man Ray sadly crashing out, retiring out of the session, will start in 11th. Donovan Laka will start 12th. And then, of course, we have the likes of Sir Lancelot and Quali, and, of course, the likes of the 86er. Look at that gap, 9.5 tenths almost. The gap between P1 and 2. Duke in a class of their own. It's Formula Duke as the rest of the grid tries to make sure that they can put on some sort of a fight. It's Wednesday action night. Now, we did mention Sir Lancelot was in P13 and Quali 14th. Tindo will start from P15. The 86er, Galilitsang Kikawaifi, 7.2 seconds off the pace there. Work to do for the veteran driver, but of course in race conditions, anything can happen. Look at that. 3 sets of tires used for likes of Duke and Billy Hendricks. The same goes for Tiago. And most of the grid having used 2 sets of soft compound tires. Welcome to Singapore. Welcome to race number 6. Welcome to the BrakeAway Racing League All-Stars season. The race is coming up in Singapore in a minute. Well, 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 folks, how about that? Getting a view of the pit lane as the final touches are made, as far as the drivers making sure that they're comfortable in their cockpits and they are raring and ready to go. Sir Lancelot, Kid K, in the comment section. It's good to have you along for the ride, folks. Welcome to the BrakeAway Racing League. If you have not subscribed, do exactly that. Like the stream if you have not done so already. It is the 6th race of this oh-so-sensational season. BrakeAway Racing League All-Stars, Singapore. The race coming up next. Vix, it's great to see you in the comment section as well. Always great, of course, to have all of our regular contenders, participants, viewers, protagonists taking part. We will see how this race unfolds. But of course, it is Duke versus Mex, who are putting on a heck of a fight as far as the drivers' championship is concerned. Sir Lancelot, not impressed with their qualifying, calls it horrible. Hopefully, the race goes better. Fingers crossed, then, for Sir Lancelot. Tiago Maestro wants to make it interesting. We know what he's capable of. We've seen Tiago put on a show in seasons past. So let's see whether or not the Tiago can claw their way up the pack. It is not going to be straightforward. It is not going to be simple. Work to do for Tiago today in the colors of Williams. So we'll see how they fare. 31 laps of racing to go. 4 lights, 5 lights. The only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. And, oh, it's a jump start for Zotal. A couple of jump starts. Sensational stuff as Duke tumbles down the order. Billy Hendricks, Mex, and Zotal each have a jump start penalty over here. I can't believe this. They gained 3 places, did Caboza, but according to race director, illegally. 4 penalties for jump starts. Oh man, they will all have a drive-through penalty. Let's look to see what exactly is going on. Duke losing 3 places, but will not be too worried considering 2 of them have those time penalties. An awful start. It would have been, of course, if all of those jump starts were illegal. But Caboza has overtaken Duke on this circuit, which is not easy to overtake on. It seems that someone else is tumbling down the order. It might be Mfundo. Rookie error, says Mandla Massingo, a.k.a. Romeo, in the comment section. Well, 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 can Duke recover? The answer is, I'm going to try to do exactly that. And my immediate competitor, my immediate foe, my immediate possible conquest is Caboza. 31 laps. Oh, Caboza smacks the wall. And here comes Duke possibly to ghost through Caboza. But it seems that the V-Carb driver will survive that. Is that front wing end plate gone? We will see with this camera angle. The answer is yes. Caboza has lost an end plate. And on this track where downforce is crucial to say the least, he is absolutely compromised. Oh, work to do for Caboza as Duke might just make light work of them. And there he goes. Now, these 3, Billy, Mex, Zotal, serving their drive-through penalties. What a rookie error that was from those 3. As Mandla says, safety car is highly likely. Duke now leaps back up to the race lead, but those rookie errors have gifted Caboza 4 places since the start of this race, but his crucial mistake sending it into the wall will leave him with so much work to do. On board we go now with the P5 running Sage Figure of Speech. Behind them is Marshy. And now we're going to see how all these drivers will fare. Oh, Sage Figure of Speech almost making acquaintance with the wall over there. Marshy has the front row seats to this 3-way battle, ostensibly for the podium spot. There's a yellow flag on another portion of the track. Somebody must have had a huge incident. We're going to go down the order to see exactly who that might be. I suspect Jonathan Laka It looked like a blue car, which is causing a yellow flag. Well, we'll go back to Marshy. A three-way battle as we get this beautiful overhead shot. Marshy hunting, huffing, puffing, trying to catch up to the back of that Ferrari. Sid's figure of speech. Both the Ferraris looking really good in qualifying. Sid's figure of speech looking for an angle, looking for an opportunity versus the Red Bull ahead. Can he do it? Devil Crocodile takes the outside line, lining it up for this right-hander coming up. Sid's figure of speech thought about it, was close, but no cigar. Not quite close enough to go for that move. Donovan Lacka is falling further and further behind. The gap between Marshy and Donovan Lacka behind now 3.8 seconds. And building possibly on board. Back we go with Marshy, whose teammate had to serve that drive-through penalty and now has a time penalty to boot. Oh, look at that. The Ferrari Sid's figure of speech definitely looking much, much more racier than Debo Crocodile, who is really slowing down the Ferrari. Oh, Marshy had to catch that car. Really huge moment over there. But Marshy breathes a huge sigh of relief. He loses a couple of tenths. Oh, there goes Debo Crocodile on the defense. Oh, they made contact. They both go off the track. Will Marshy take opportunity? He possibly will versus Sid's figure of speech. They're side by side. Marshy tried but could not quite get that move done. And Sid's figure of speech now was holding their breath after Marshy's mistake a little bit earlier. It's all off and popping. Debo Crocodile has been finally overtaken by Sid's figure of speech as they now come through these sequences of very, very tight corners. And corners which follow on so closely from one another. Now, can Marshy overtake Debo Crocodile? Oh, not the cleanest of exits there. Have to hack at the steering wheel to make sure that the car is pointed straight down this little stretch of track. And Sid's figure of speech looking to stretch their legs and create a bit of a gap now from Debo Crocodile to themselves. Now, Duke is still in control, in the lead of this race by a factor of 2.1 seconds. Capoza took some damage. He was a leading contender at some point, don't you forget, with that drama of the race start. Capoza still in the running, but has got that damage to the front left end plate of that wing. So running with some damage, Capoza will be hoping that Thiago stays behind. What a start from Thiago, also taking full advantage of those early incidents. Now running in P3 is the Williams driver. What a result that would be for Thiago, making their season debut in this, the sixth race of this season. Thiago will be very thankful for whatever points he can get at this particular point. Marshy finally overtaking Debo Crocodile. As we have seen Sid's figure of speech running in P4. This is Marshy and Bangani, Debo Crocodile, a distant cousin of Debo Alligator. Possibly Debo came in there. Losing one place since, of course, this race had begun. Let's take a look at the situation as far as the tires are concerned. Remember, Zotal, Max, Billy Hendricks, they have to come in for that drive-through penalty. So they are on medium tires, as is the case with each of the top 5 drivers. Of course, those 3, Billy, Max, Zotal, it was just a drive-through penalty. They did not change tires. Man Ray and Mfundo. Oh, look at that. It's a 5-way battle featuring Jonathan Lacka, Billy Hendricks, Max. Oh, no! Jonathan Lacka sent it into the wall! And that front wing is gone! And Jonathan Lacka having a nightmare of a day here as we catch back up with this battle in the midfield. Mfundo also having lost their wing. Mfundo possibly going into the wall, and the Haas will have no trouble passing Mfundo over there. We're going to catch up instead with this battle. Max, Billy Hendricks, Man Ray. Max is, trying to fight back into the reckoning here for the points. No room to pass Billy Hendricks. Man Ray also is not going to make life easy for the championship leading Max. Now, who is looking to claw his way back into the reckoning. As things currently stand, it is a beautiful day to be Duke. A beautiful day to be in McLaren, because they will be taking huge chunks of points out of the championship leading Max. There goes the Ferrari of Billy Hendricks, and Max could not quite get through on Man Ray. He tried, but there was no room to go through. Billy Hendricks will say thank you very much, and will look to create a bit of a gap between themselves and the Alpine of Man Ray. Max, frustrated, hampered, hamstrung by this P11 position as he looks to finally overcome Man Ray who, of course, will not give any positions away. Man Ray looking himself to come into the reckoning, as Mex had to really hack at the steering wheel to make sure that he did not make an acquaintance with the wall. But as he does that, as he stays behind Man Ray, here comes Zotile, who, of course, was alongside Mex as far as making those mistakes that sent them into the drive-through penalty at the early stage of this race. It is Zotile versus Mex versus Man Ray, as Billy Hendrick says, thank you very much, and I will skip away by a factor of a second and a half. Zotile, with that time penalty, is going to look to give Mex all of the headaches over here, as we look to see whether or not this can be an overtake into the reckoning for the point. Mex, close, but no cigar as far as the overtake is concerned. He tries to get a bit of slipstream from Man Ray. He's close, but he's not quite close enough to get that done. No, Man Ray, the latest driver to earn a time penalty. For track limited gorgeous. Zotile making a little bit of possible contact there with the back of the V-carb of Mex. Here they come now. Through 5, and they're going to go into the kink of turn number 6, into the braking zone of turn 7. DRS open for Mex and Zotile. Oh no! It's a huge crash! Mex sends it into the back of Man Ray, and how much damage has he taken? Oh, that was a huge crash that Mex had over there. Man Ray will be seething, and will, of course, be marching straight to the steward's office when all is said and done. What was Mex doing over there? A huge crash into the back of Man Ray, and thankfully for Mex, the car is still running. But how? How much damage has that V-carb taken? We will see soon enough. That front wing somehow seems to still be intact. Mandela, Romeo Massengo, barely believing what they're seeing. Yo, says Mandela in the comment section. Barely believing that huge crash Mex into the back of Man Ray, and Zotile was there to take full advantage. Sensational scenes in Singapore. If you've just joined us, welcome to lap number 7 of race number 6 at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Well, Zotile versus Mex now. I do wonder how much damage Mex has taken, and if that is indeed what is compromising their entry through corners. Here comes Zotile now on the outside of Mex, and the V-carb driver does not fight it. Christopher, Seikau, Crash, and Kize is in the comments section saying a South African expressing, well, I suppose, excitement, danger at the prospects of the... Oh no! Who was that? It's Billy Hendricks, who has made huge acquaintance with the wall. He becomes the latest driver to completely obliterate their front wing. And what on earth is going on? It seems to be an unforced error from Billy Hendricks, who is making huge, steady progress. And the safety car has been summoned in Singapore. Well, how about that? Sir Lancelot was on hand to hop straight into the pit lane. Is this the ghost of Sir Lancelot? Or is he still, indeed, an active driver? Goes from the hards to a used set of mediums, and the safety car has been called out. Mandela called it earlier on. Here comes Duke into the pit lane, 6-lap-old medium tires. Mandela said, I told you the safety car was going to come out. Look at that. Duke had built up an 8.2 second buffer to the P2 running Kaboza, who will really be happy at this opportunity possibly to change their front wing. But will he go for it? It was just the end plate of Kaboza's wing which was damaged. It does not look like the V-Carb pit crew are going to change that wing. Kaboza happy to continue. Now on a set of hard tires, of course, under the safety car, the field will bunch up. Debo Crocodile says, you know what? I will take this opportunity to take control of this race. Debo Crocodile opting not to come into the pits. Had started on the hard tires, opts to keep it going, perhaps banking on another safety car that Christopher Crash and Keys reckons will be coming as a factor in this race before all is said and done. Debo Crocodile, Bongani leading this race. Duke out of the pits is second, Kaboza third, also having pitted. The 86er following Debo Crocodile's cue and also opting not to come into the pits. And Quali does exactly the same, the 7-up-old hard tires. Thiago Maestro is out on a brand spanking set of hards, as is Sage Figure of Speech. Man Ray is currently 8th, had yet to come into the pits. We saw that huge incident between themselves and Max a little bit earlier. Marshy, 9th. Mex is 10th. Yeah, with that 17-second gap, perhaps opted to take that wing change after all. Zotal is 11th, but of course, we must, of course, factor in that Mex, Zotal, and Billy Hendricks did take that drive-through penalty for that jump start early on, the start of this race. P10, P11 for Mex and Zotal. Donovan Laka, we saw him become acquaintances with the wall, currently 12th. Billy Hendricks is 13th. Tindo is 14th. And Fundo, 15th. Sir Lancelot is rounding off the back of this pack. The veterans Fundo, Tindo, really being shown flames here in the All-Star season. Sadly, Fundo crashing out last week, but this time finds himself at the back of the pack, mired in some battles in the early stages of this race. Can Fundo find his way back into the points reckoning? Well, they'll all bunch up behind the safety car for a couple of laps before the marshals clear whatever debris remains of those wings which were totaled on track. Billy Hendricks, of course, being one of those drivers whose wings brought out the safety car. Now, take a look at the situation as far as penalties are concerned. Man rate 3 seconds. Sir Lancelot also on that margin. It is Debo Crocodile from Duke at the front of the pack. And we will soon see just how well the prospects of the Red Bull will fare versus the barnstorming Duke. Caboza also in the reckoning. Oh, look at that. Caboza almost going into the back of Duke there as these contenders weave to the left and to the right, trying to work those tires into optimum temperature. 9 laps elapsed of this 31-lap showcase around the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Caboza really psyching himself up, telling himself no more mistakes after that early incident saw him lose that front left wing end plate, which I will remind you has still not been replaced. Caboza opting to keep track position in that decision not to change that front wing during their pit stop. What can Tiago do now? Racing for the first time this season was, of course, a beneficiary of that mistake at the start by Zotal, Billy, and Mex, all three of whom are still behind Tiago. Work to do for the Williams superstar, as race control gives the word that the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. Debo Crocodile, towards the end of this lap, will dictate the pace and will decide when exactly we put the pedal to the metal and go racing once again in Singapore. Here we go now. Debo will be sending us racing out here in Singapore. And there goes the chasing Duke and Caboza. Will they be able to do something versus Debo Crocodile? Not yet. Caboza looking to keep it clean. The Red Bull of the 86er is well and truly giving it an almighty go. Duke looking to waste no time on the outside of the Red Bull, but not quite close enough to go for it. Or is he? Almost making contact with the back of that Red Bull. Duke wanting to waste no time, using up that battery. They go side by side, and into turn number 7, Duke reclaims the lead of the race. Caboza will look to follow on as quickly as possible, but can he? Not yet. Not quite. Not quite in this first sector. Caboza will have to bide their time to see whether or not something can be done. Sage Figure of Speech, meanwhile, overtook Thiago Maestro, who is now down to P7. Work to do for the Williams superstar over here in the early stages of this race restart. The 86er doing, I suppose, decently well on those old 9-lap-old tires at this particular point. Let's take a look. Yeah, 9-lap-old tires for the 86er and Quali and Debo Crocodile as things currently stand. Currently running line astern in those positions from P1 down to about P8. And then we have that gap of a factor of 1.7 seconds between, of course, Sage Figure of Speech and Man Ray. Meanwhile, Mex who's trying to finally overtake Man Ray. Remember, Mex is fighting for the championship. Mex is currently leading the championship and is looking to make sure he gets past Man Ray, who goes way off the track through that stroller corner. DRS has finally been enabled once again. It is Mex versus Man Ray over here towards the start of lap number 11, and Mex is using up all of that battery, but Man Ray's straight line speed cannot be overcome in the run towards turn number 1. Oh, Man Ray spins off track! Oh no! Look at that! The Haas hits the back of Mex. It was Marshy and Zotal, who hit each other, and now Zotal goes turning and spinning, and it is another nightmare for Zotal, whose prospects go tumbling as he finds himself at the back of the pack, now having made contact with the back of Mex. Oh my goodness, Mex was trying to overtake Man Ray, who spun, and then it was a domino effect as far as all those drivers were concerned. Sensational drama out here in Singapore. Jonathan Laka now into the points reckoning as Zotal kicking himself, having been an unfortunate casualty of that domino started by Man Ray, who was spinning out. Sensational action out here in Singapore. Let's see what the vantage point is like if you are Marshy. Oh my gosh, who was that hitting the wall? Is it Mex again? Was he glitching or did he genuinely hit the wall? Oh, sensational scenes out here. Mex draining that battery, trying to come back. Oh, Mex hits the back of the Ferrari. He's definitely losing his bearings. It's Mex over here as he was fighting too hard to try and claw his way through the pack. Oh, Mex with crash after crash, having a nightmare Singapore race out here, and now trying to make sure that his race is still somehow valid. Duke setting another fastest lap. Oh, as they all take different lines through the penultimate corner, and Mex is in danger here of losing this position. And Quali, who's looking to go through and cinch for the space, they make contact, and then Quali almost loses his own. Mex was compromised, and the half of Marshy makes contact with the Williams as they're all out breaking each other and making contact through these initial corners now as they begin the 12th lap. Jonathan Laka, front row seats to this fatal four-way in Singapore. Sensational drama out here as Mex and Quali go side by side. The V-Carb trying to dispatch and just to get out of this fatal four-way. Mex has overtaken Quali, and Mex is really draining that battery. Oh no, Quali makes contact with the back of Mex. Oh, everybody's crashing into one another. What the heck is going on? Oh my gosh, or is it just Mex glitching? Because he seemed to be crashed and then he just, popped up in another part of the track. But he is crashing into people. That front right wing end plate is gone. Drama out here. Now let's see what exactly is going on. It's another three-way fight. Jonathan Laka, Marshy, and Quali. And Man Ray is here to join the party, but he's not quite close enough to get that DRS. Meanwhile, folks, Debo Crocodile has just been overtaken by Thiago Maestro, who's making their season debut, now finding himself up into the podium places. Thiago has lost a front left wing end plate and now finds himself running in P3. It's drama all over this grid. Thiago clawing their way up to P3. Debo Crocodile, 86er. Remember, these two have yet to pit. They're biding their time, hoping for another safety car, possibly. I wouldn't bet against it. Crash said we're going to see another one. Minimum. Will that come to bear sooner or later? Well. This is on board the 86er. 12-lap-old hard tires. Behind him, of course, is stage figure of speech on that fresh 5-lap-old hard compound. And then, of course, Marshy is trying to work his way into these positions. A couple of places behind. Zotal on their fight back is slowly inching the way back. Oh, looks like that Debo Crocodile took a lot of curve there side by side. Goes the 86er, who has the inside line into this left-hander, and you will say thank you very much, and will not need a second invitation. Perhaps team orders there. The teammates not necessarily getting too feisty as far as their battle with each other is concerned, but well, that's all good and well, but stage figure of speech and Mex are here to spoil the party and try and get past as quickly as they possibly can. Running oh so close. Everybody with a little bit of damage, as we've seen all throughout this year grid. Back on board we go with Mex, who has a interesting vantage point. Oh, Mex glitching all over this track. Don't crash, Mex. Don't crash into the back of stage figure of speech. Here they come now through the final sequence of corners. Mex struggling for downforce through that final faster left-hander. And now looking to give the Ferrari a headache or two. Those helmets weaving to the left and to the right as those G-forces take effect. Sage figure of speech versus Debo Crocodile possibly. Oh, they might make contact here through this corner. Oh, Mex is going to take full advantage. He's on the inside now of Sage figure of speech, and Mex has done it. Or has he? They're side by side. It's wheel-to-wheel action here. But who will blink first into the corner? Oh, it's Mex on the outside, not giving an inch. Sage figure of speech says, "You shall not pass." And Mex has been kept at bay at the Marina Bay Street Circuit here in lap 14 of a total 31. Sage figure of speech, like Gandalf, said, "You shall not pass." And Mex is going to have to bide their time and see what can be done a little bit later on in this race. Could barely catch my breath. It has been a sensational 14 laps of action out here in Singapore. If you've just joined us, I'll tell you what, you've tuned in to an absolute classic, as we've seen incidents aplenty. Perhaps not the last as far as possible safety cars are concerned. Back on board we go now. This, ostensibly, is the battle for P4. Because at the front of this fatal four-way is the 86er, who is trying to drag their teammates on along. And, Mex is really glitching all over this track. But still trying to give this four-way fight a lot to think about. Now, down in the lower midfield, Man Ray currently out of the points reckoning. Clinging on to DRS as far as Zotal is concerned. Behind Man Ray is Billy Hendricks, who is definitely trying to line up a move. But look at that yellow bar at the bottom of Billy's steering wheel. Used up a lot of battery power to find themselves looking for the tiniest opportunity versus Man Ray here. But will the Alpine oblige and make it easy? We have seen that Man Ray is not prone to just making life easy for competitors. Man Ray, of course, was defending for their life when Mex made that contact and sent, which, of course, resulted in a lot of incidents. But, of course, the other incident that Man Ray was involved in was that unforced error, which forced a domino effect, resulting in the likes of Zotal also spinning out. So work to do here for Billy Hendricks as we get back to this fatal four-way. Mex versus Sage figure of speech and the Red Bull duo of Debo Crocodile and the 86er. That straight line speed is nothing to be scoffed at. As try as they might, Sage figure of speech and Mex have not been able to overtake. So the 86er doing a fantastic job dragging their teammate on along, but Sage figure of speech is going for it on the outside of Debo Crocodile. They bang wheels here as they go through the kink of sinks into turn number 7. Sage figure of speech is through. Will Mex be able to effect an overtake? Here they come now into turn number 7. Oh, Sage figure of speech makes contact and goes spinning and loses out and goes to the back of the fatal four-way. Perhaps looking for too much of a bite into the cherry. And Mex has then gotten up to P6, but is still behind both the Red Bulls. Mex on the inside of Debo Crocodile, who says, well, you are going to have to yield or crash into me. Debo Crocodile was, of course, ahead. As Mex has to catch that car now at this particular point. Meanwhile, something is happening at the front of the pack. It seems Caboza has overtaken Duke. What has happened over there? We'll have to catch back up. Duke has lost their front left wing end plate. So it might have been a huge error at the front, causing a changing of the board. Caboza, who had his incident much earlier, seems to definitely have far less wing damage relative to Duke. Well. We saw some mistakes cost Duke in last week's race, but that was mainly time penalties and the like. But eventually, did come home to claim some crucial points. Will Caboza take advantage here? The same type of damage, the same side of the front wing. If you look at that end plate, it's gone for Caboza, gone for Duke. But will Kaboza fare better, considering he's been driving much longer, and at this particular point is well adjusted to what the car needs. Will catch up with them as Marshy is overtaken by their teammate Zotal, who is clawing his way back into the points reckoning. Now P8 for Zotal, so at least that will not leave here empty-handed. Mex is now sandwiched in between the V-Carbs. I beg your pardon, the Red Bulls. Sage, figure of speech, also trying to overtake Debo Crocodile. So the 86er really did well to drag their teammate on along for lap after lap. But that huge battle, which culminated in contact between the likes of Sage, figure of speech and Debo Crocodile, now means that Mex is threatening the 86er for that P4 spot. 17 laps, elapsed. Welcome to Singapore. Welcome to the Marina Bay Street Circuit if you have just joined us. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Oh, almost outbreaking each other. Sage, figure of speech really had to catch that. Was coming into that braking zone really through gritted teeth. I could feel that tension through the screen over here. Nintendo Wii has joined the fray to see how Mex is faring. The answer is P5, and possibly with some damage over here. Mex has had an absolutely turbulent race, making contact, seeing drivers spinning out, having served a drive-through penalty. It has been a drama-filled race for Mex, who finally goes side by side and finally overtakes the 86er down this DRS stretch in towards turn number 7. There we go. Mex now up to P4, but it is a huge gap between themselves and the podium. 9 seconds effectively work to do for Mex. Stitch figure of speech is looking to go for it versus the 86er. Try not to crash, guys. We've seen far too many of moments of contact under braking in this treacherous circuit. Oh, there we go! I spoke too soon! Commentator's curse! He sent it careening into the back of the Red Bull, did Stitch figure of speech. That wing was already damaged. Debo Crocodile will look to take full advantage, but can he? And joining the party, joining the fray, is the Haas duo of Zotal and Marshy. What was a 4-way fight becomes a 6-way tussle, courtesy of the Haas duo joining the fray. Well. How about that, folks? 19 laps gone. Contact under braking. Work to do for so many of these drivers. Who has the straight line speed? Zotal. You dare not make it another incident as far as the nose to tail action is concerned over here. What a crazy race we have seen thus far, as Zotal carries a lot of speed there through turns 4 and 5. This is kink of 6 into the hard braking zone of 7. Who will blink first? Oh, they're still running Linus Stern over there. Sage figure of speech. Really looking to dispatch of the 86er and hang on to the coattails of Mex. But I'll tell you what, Mex has really stretched their legs. He's about 3.5 seconds up the road. So work to do if Sage figure of speech can somehow overtake. Oh, look at that. Mex earns a 3-second time penalty. Oh, and that'll bring everyone into the fray. I'll tell you what, Sage figure of speech struggling for downforce with that front wing, really almost going straight to the Tech Pro barriers there a couple of corners ago. But he managed somehow by the skin of his teeth to keep it running. But of course, that huge moment means he is well and truly out of the 86er DRS. The 86er really struggling out here, presumably for grip with those 18-lap-old hard tires. Duke says, you know what? I will concede. I will get this damaged wing off, and I will take my chances with a brand spanking set of medium tires and a fresh wing. He tumbles all the way down to P7, P8 possibly, before all is said and done. Oh, meanwhile, look at that. Mfundo, Billy Hendricks, Mfundo down the main straight says thank you very much. Overtakes the Ferrari, who will now try to fight back. Mfundo on those aging tires, 15-lap old hards. Will he keep them on towards the end? Oh, Oh, look at that! Billy Hendricks trying to keep up with Enfundo. It keeps up instead with the wall. It's straight into the wall from Billy Hendricks. Another frustrating incident will send him tumbling down the pack. And Enfundo will say, well, thank you very much. If you can't stand the heat of P7, I will go galloping on into the distance. Enfundo has gotten rid of their nemesis, Billy Hendricks, and now breathes a huge sigh of relief as he tries to catch up to this man, Donathan Laka, who is within touching distance of the Haas of Marshy. Oh, as I say that, it's an awful line through that slow corner for Donathan Laka. Loses a lot of time and now has to possibly use a lot of their battery just to make sure that they catch up to the back of Marshy. Can Donathan Laka get this done? 11 laps inclusive of this one to go. We're in the final stages of this race on this also treacherous circuit. Will the predictions of Crash and Mandla Romeo Massengo come to pass as far as yet another safety car is concerned? Well, time will tell. What a race, what a performance it's been. Despite having taken early damage for Caboza, this will be a memorable result if he can keep it going and maintain his advantage from now all the way towards the checkered flag. Long way to go as Billy Hendricks becomes the latest driver to fall foul of track limits. 3-second time penalty for them. Oh, Caboza sends it into the wall as we were waxing lyrical about them. Oh, Caboza really almost completely ruining their prospects. And I'll tell you what, Tiago will be paying close attention to that, seeing that that gap is falling and falling and falling. And now Tiago has Caboza in his sights. Tiago on debut. Could he be claiming a race victory? Both Tiago and Caboza have absolutely totaled those front left wing end plates in this oh-so treacherous circuit. Caboza gets a 3-second time penalty. Oh, at the tail end of this race, and Tiago will be smiling from ear to ear as Caboza calls time on those 13-lap-old hard tires, and he will then definitely concede because you lose about 20.9 seconds in the pit lane. And of course, Max will say, hey, I'll take that. If you're going to come into the pits, I've got damage. Tiago has damage. But does Max know that? Will the engineers be telling him that the P1 running Tiago is running on a damaged front wing? And will Mex come to rue this decision of staying on these hards for so long with so much racing still to go? Time will tell. Caboza has fitted a new set of tires but kept that old front wing, which was already damaged. Would you look at that? And now Enfundo sees the two protagonists who were in the lead of this race. Remember, Duke opted to change their front wing. Oh, Caboza sends it into the wall again! And Enfundo was watching closely. Despite having a lot of damage, Enfundo has a front wing which is definitely still intact, and that downforce is not compromised relative to Caboza, who is really weaving to the left and to the right and making all sorts of acquaintance with all of these walls here. If these walls could talk, they would say Caboza is definitely among some of our closest companions. Well. How much further will this cost Caboza? That incident with the walls on top of Duke's superior downforce and, of course, having taken on a new wing, that gap between Caboza and Duke now 2.2 seconds, as Enfundo looks to take advantage. Back on board with Duke, who's clawing his way up. Oh, what an overtake that is, side by side through the fast final corner, and Duke has got the overtake done. Now up to P5. No time penalties for Duke. Lap 23, and that gap is closing, inches closer and closer now to the back of Marshy. And I'll tell you what, we may yet see Duke, at the very least, back up on the podium at this pace, and with the kind of confidence that he is driving with, I would not be surprised at all. Meanwhile, down in the lower midfield, oh, there's another yellow flag on another portion of the track here, but down in the lower midfield, down in P12, Zotal, who had eventually come back into the pit for a set of medium tires, is fighting against Sig Figure of Speech. But can he keep it clean? Can both of these guys keep it clean between now and the end of proceedings? Zotal looking very, very comfortable here, as Duke looks to make light work of the other half, that being Marshy. We're back on board now with the McLaren of Duke. We'll catch back up with Zotal in a second or two. This is Duke looking to stake their claim on a podium place. Before all is said and done, really had to slam the brakes there so as to not cause too much of an incident. Marshy, who was on very, very old mediums, finally calls time and comes into the pits for a brand spanking set of tires. Meanwhile, Donovan Laka and Caboza go wheel to wheel, side by side. Caboza still ahead as one of the Kick Saubers exits the pits. It is Enquali who gets a time penalty. Of course, this would be Donovan Laka lapping Enquali down at the back of the pack. But of course, it seems that Kick Sauber really messed up with Donovan Laka's momentum. Tindo, the latest, and a slew of drivers to make this a time penalty shootout. Zotal has overcome Billy Hendricks, finally. And next up is Sig Figure of Speech. Billy Hendricks looking to make sure that they keep up with the Zotal. But this vantage point will give us a sense of just how well or not Zotal is doing relative to the Ferrari. But I'll tell you what, that gap would suggest that Zotal much more comfortable. And look at the speed that the Haas is carrying. As Billy Hendricks had a huge moment. Really had to catch that car and loses a second and a half to Zotal. Marshy, Zotal's teammate, looking to hang on to the coattails of the P10 running breakaway veteran. Now side by side. They make a little bit of contact. And they had to give each other some room there as they come through that slower right-hander. Marshy now up to P10. And Fundo goes up to P6. Really looking to push these tires to limit 20 laps on this set of hard compound tires. I'll tell you what, Duke eventually overtook Debo Crocodile, Bangani and Guanya. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman. Of course, Debo 24 lap old hard tires. I really don't know what the thinking is at Red Bull as far as Debo's strategy is concerned. The 86er pitted about 6 laps ago, and Debo Crocodile is still on the set of hard tires that he started this race with. Of course, taking advantage of drivers taking damage, and of course the safety car earlier. Debo really nursing this car towards the finish line. Will he make it unscathed is, of course, the eternal question. Stay tuned, folks. What a sensational race we have had. Let's catch back up to the Haas duo of Marshy and Zotal. Marshy, brand spanking new soft tires, looking to get the jump on their teammate side by side, wheel to wheel. Zotal opts not to fight versus their teammate, who will go screaming right along and past. As Debo Crocodile finally, almost a bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Red Bull here. It's Sig Figure of Speech versus Galalasan Kagawesi, the 86er, who is making sure that the Ferrari does not come to pass. Sig Figure has used up so much of his battery, but the 86er has superior speed down the straight. Sig Figure of Speech had to really hack at the steering wheel so as to not make contact with the back of the Red Bull. The 86er making sure that the Ferrari is kept at bay. As far as tire age is concerned, it's neck and neck. 6-lap-old mediums for the 86er, as is the case for Sig Figure of Speech, who goes for it on the inside of 6. But the 86er has the inside line into 7, but it will not matter because Sig Figure of Speech has got the overtake done. And the 86er had so much battery power relative to six figure of speed, but opted to go conservative and not necessarily drain that battery in that fight versus six figure of speed. Now, the 86er, Galloway Sang, looking to claw their way back into the reckoning. But I tell you what, not looking too comfortable through these sequence of corners. And Sig Fig is galloping ahead, now building up that gap to almost 9/10 of a second. Oh, the 86er huffing, puffing, and now will presumably deploy that battery. As you can see, that yellow bar depleting down at the bottom of the 86er steering wheel. It takes a wide line through the right-hander now. And I'll tell you what, Sig Figure of Speech may yet be out of danger as far as being out of the 86er DRS is concerned. Definitely slower through the corners was the 86er, but now has made up that gap a little bit. You will still have DRS as Sir Lancelot retires from this race, but the question is, in the pits? Yes, that was in the pits, so no safety car as far as these drivers are concerned. 15 contenders still racing, still running, still active out here, and the final couple of laps out here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. This is the 86er huffing and puffing, trying to stay within touching distance of that race of Six Figure of Speech. I beg your pardon. Debo Crocodile, meanwhile, is now on the attack on a brand spanking set of tires versus Marshy. Side by side they go. Marshy, no wing and no chance on against these brand new soft tires that Debo Crocodile is running. An ultimate strategy of the ages as far as Debo is concerned, as Crash gives kudos and really props to Thiago Maestro. On debut this season, was driven a really fantastic race as Duke huffs and puffs and tries to catch up. The gap between Thiago and Duke is about less than 8.5 seconds. So that is the message that Thiago's engineers will be giving in these final couple of laps. You just have to keep it going, Thiago. 8 seconds is the gap between you and Duke, who is on much newer tires, and of course whose wing was also recently repaired. Yeah, that is the message that will be sent into the ears of Thiago if they can somehow keep this gap manageable. Work to do for Thiago on debut, but what a race it is for them. Mex has had so many incidents. It hasn't been as clean and controlled a race as we usually see from Matteo Mekwa. Today has been an almighty struggle, but finds himself 3.5 seconds behind the leader of this race. Duke is a couple of seconds behind Mex, but I'll tell you what, if he keeps this going, you will have Mex well within his sights. And there goes Mex through the right-hander. Duke will have seen that, and Duke not quite nailing that apex there. And Duke will be looking to begin this 29th lap with the sole ambition of making it a fight by the time they are in lap number 30. I want to hear it from you in the comment section. Will Thiago win this race? Mex has the time penalty to contend with. So come the end of lap number 29, into the final 2 laps, it may yet be a question of when, or rather than if, Duke will be getting that. That's the situation as far as the time penalties are concerned. 3 seconds each for Mex, Caboza, and then, of course, Billy Hendricks, Man Ray, Tindo, and Nkwali with those penalties. Debo Crocodile is clawing his way through the pack now. The alternate strategy of the ages took those hard tires to their limits. They possibly were very close to bursting by the time Debo Crocodile relented and said, I'm coming into the pits, but here comes now on the outside of the Haas. But Debo will have much more grip. Oh, Debo goes off the track. Will that be a valid overtake? Or will the stewards deem it legal? Is Debo being told to give that position back? Does not seem to be relenting at this particular point, so might just have gotten away with that. Debo Crocodile now up to P8. Meanwhile, Duke overcame Caboza. Now is going to overtake and overcome Moteo Mekwa as he begins the penultimate lap. And try as he might, it seems Thiago may not have enough to be able to stay in the lead of this race. 2 seconds and counting, make that 1.7 seconds that Thiago has to contend with that damaged front wing. Duke rolled the dice and came in to change that front wing. And I'll tell you what, Thiago would have been hoping that Mex could have kept Duke at bay as long as possible. But right now, with that superior tire life and that superior grip, superior downforce, it is a matter of when and not if. I'll tell you what, this man Thiago put on a titanic fight. It was a valiant, gallant effort that the Williams superstar put on. But Duke, it seems, is not easily overcome. And look at that, as Thiago tries to harvest battery life when that red light flashes on the back of that car. Duke has been saving up that battery power. Look at that yellow bar on his steering wheel. Half a second separates race-leading Thiago from the would-be winner, Duke. Duke, of course, led so many laps of this race, as did Caboza. But now, to begin the final lap of this race on the main straight, will Duke go for it, or will he want to make it a grandstand finish by not overtaking on the main straight, but rather biding his time towards the DRS stretch, which is coming up? Thiago struggling for grip as you see him take a much wider line, weaving on the straight, but Duke, he almost squeezed him into the wall. They made contact, but Duke has superior grip. And what was that from Thiago? Almost sending the McLaren careening into the wall over there. Really tried to close that gap, but Duke squeezed through and now has this race in a chokehold as he will send it screaming towards the line. Nintendo Wii cheering on Mex in the comment section, and it seems it may yet be another podium for the championship leading Mex. But Duke, having overcome so many incidents, including a very, very sluggish start and wing damage and battles aplenty, seems to have finally come towards the end of this race with the taste of victory well and truly within grasp. What an effort from Thiago, who with a damaged wing did not take a single ounce of penalties. He will come home to claim a deserved podium. But on this night, it is Duke who will win in Singapore by a factor of 2.5 seconds. Thiago, on season debut, claims the deserved podium, and Moteo Mekwa fights back to claim P3 in Singapore. Here comes Caboza, who finally relented to get a change of tires, and with barely any wing left, he will claim the 4th position out here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit to claim even more of an advantage in that championship fight as far as those top positions are concerned. One of the kick Saubers is in the wall as Fitzburger's Beach comes home in P5. P6 for Mfundo. What a result for them, as the 86er from the back of the pack will finish in 8th spot. Debo Crocodile makes it a Red Bull 7 and 8, as Marshy and Zotal run line astern in P9 and 10th in the final point spot. Jonathan Lacka will rue those mistakes which cost them, as Billy Hendricks will come home to claim P12 after a slew of incidents over there. Man Ray is going to bring it home in P13, and Quali, who was lapped, was 14th. And then at the back of the pack, we have Tindo finishing in 15th place. What a race that was. Driver of the day is the 86er. Do you agree? Having started from the back of the pack, the 86er claiming some much-needed points out here today. Well, what a race that has been. Thank you, Crash. Thank you, Nintendo Wii. And Duke, massive congratulations to you as we see them take the bow over there. Debo Crocodile says, you know what? That second safety car never came. That's what Debo Crocodile was betting on, as we suspected. Max Verstappen, says Vix in the comment section. Sir Lancelot, commiserations to you on an awful day out here on the circuit. Perhaps that car will bear you to better tidings next time out in Sao Paulo. What a race! What a showcase of the BrakeAway Racing League. Beautifully done by all our contenders. Duke with the fastest lap by some margin. Look at that, 29.988, the fastest time, by some margin. As you can see, that is 26 points for Duke. 29.988, the next fastest person, but sadly was not close enough to be in the reckoning. Sage figure of speech, 31.651. And that is that. 2 pit stops for most of the grid, with the exception of Tiago and Mex, who just had the 1 pit stop. What an absolutely sensational race out here we have, folks. Remember to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. That was race number 6. Next week, we are in Brazil, and the week after, Las Vegas. This has been BrakeAway Racing League, the All-Star season. Thank you for taking part. Thank you for all of your comments. We will see you next time out. Thank you, everybody, and good night.